Every year in Madden around this time, we start to look for off-meta ways to beat the most meta coverages in the game. Usually this corresponds with the release of an apprentice of some sort, or just quarterbacks starting to get the hot route master or the master tactician. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how to utilize the tight end hook, AKA the OTB route, because I think this route is really good at stealing first downs, and your opponents will have to guard it no matter what zone they're in. So make sure that you guys are subscribed right here to the Zay Madden YouTube channel. I'm dropping content 5 times a week in the morning to help you guys get better at the game absolutely free. Let's get into why you want to install this route into your offense. Now, first things first, you guys will want to choose an offense. It doesn't matter what offense you choose, but it must have a tight end. I always like to break down how I utilize things within my offense because this is what I run, so I can speak from firsthand experience, but I also want to make sure that I kind of introduce it to you as a universal tip that you can apply into whatever it is you like to run as well. So I'm going to start off here in the bunch tight end. Now, what I want to do is I want to go through some general rules for zone, starting off with a cover 4. Now, cover 4 is going to have the same underneath zones that you would find in a cover 3. So if you take a look, we have 2 yellows and 2 purples. This is the same type of zone that you would find in a regular cover 3 as well. So you're going to utilize this route the same against both of these covered shells. And what we're going to be doing is just kind of explaining how the tight end route is going to sit down over the middle. Now, what I would recommend doing is flooding away from it. You don't necessarily want to have drags and slants running into the route because you don't want to congest it or draw attention to it with the user. The user needs to go guard it, which is going to open up other throws on the field, but you don't want to have 2 routes in the same spot of the field. That's just bad offense altogether. So my recommendation would be to do something like a flood away from it. Now, in this particular offense, I might also go ahead and put the running back on a table route, or maybe I go ahead and do a couple levels of corner routes with, a streak. That way you have kind of like a super flood. But again, this backside route to Njoku is always going to be the route that we know is kind of our backbreaker. And the reason for that is that this zone will not guard it. In fact, the hook zone will nearly always go to the other side of the field. And that is a general rule that you will notice in cover 3 and cover 4. For those that aren't aware of who we're talking about on the field, this is going to be the hook zone that is away from the passing strength. So when we talk about bunch here, we have the passing strength being to the defensive point of view's left, offensive point of view's right. When this ball is snapped, this hook is going to run over to this side of the field, which means that you're going to have a lot of opportunities to dump this ball down to the tight end here in this little patch of field. Now, the cool thing about this is, let's say you don't have a hot route master for this route. You could, if you wanted to, put a curl on the field and custom stem this all the way down to kind of give the same added bonus. Now, the only thing that I would recommend that you guys do differently with this is also make sure that you have something that attacks the flat, because I want you to watch what the hook on the left does here. You see how he's just going to open up to the wrong side of the field, and you're going to be able to dump this down to the tight end. So this OTB over the ball hook route is good, but you also have a makeshift curl that you could custom stem down as well. But either way, again, with this, what you're going to love is that this is a route that you can very easily scheme around, knowing that your opponent, if they don't use or that weak hook, that player is going to go run to the wrong side, and you could throw this ball so routinely in the middle of the field just to spot it up. So this is a great concept that you could go high-low with. In fact, you might even go ahead and construct your offensive route combo, something like this. You have a post and a streak, and then maybe you give yourself, some just flooding type look over here to the right, maybe a flat and a wheel. This is just going to get that hook to kind of just bail, and then boom, you throw this right on the spot right there. If the user isn't biting on this, this is a money throw. Now, this is also great because, as we know, a lot of times if you throw this, they're going to start to kind of key in on this with their user. So imagine you've thrown this hook a few times in the game already. It's sitting down. The user is starting to kind of bait it a little bit. They're prepared for it. That's where this play whips comes into effect in the bunch tight end. That's why I wanted to show you how you can scheme this within my favorite offense. Now, speaking of my favorite offense, you guys can check out my bunch tight end game plan on gridirongameplans.gg. This has been the offense I've been in since the launch of the game, mastering its use against all the popular metas, whether it's the dollar or the 1-4 or the 3-3 odd or the 3-3 cub or the 4-3 even 6-1 or just your basic 4-man rush set. I will show you guys how to move the ball, block all the meta blitzes, bomb all the popular coverages out of this offense with ease. So make sure you guys go check it out. You guys can unlock everything on the website, my full offense in the bunch tight end, my full defense in the 1-4, my match coverage rules game plan, all the vault updates, which are weekly updated tips focused on what pro players are doing, how they work, and how to counter it when you face it online for just $9.95 a month. Best deal in the tip space. Do not miss out on it. And we'll see you guys in our Discord as well. Lab sessions every single week inside of our Discord. So back to whips. If we've thrown this hook route a couple times, the great way to pair it would be with this whip route. And the reason you would do something like that is because it does return back to the outside. So you get this kind of illusion, if you will, that you're getting the pitch route, that kind of slant and sit, but then Njoku's going to whip back to the outside. So if you're dealing with a user on this is going to go back to the outside really, really well. So if they start to kind of like jump down over the middle on this is a great throw that you guys can mix in. But of course, this concept is also something that you guys can utilize within other offenses as well. I don't want to just break this down out of my offense. Let's head into something else that has a tight end. So what I'm going to do here is obviously trips tight end is a very similar approach. You know, it's 3 receivers and then a tight end on the other side running back in the backfield. So that's similarly spaced. Let's go ahead and do this out of like normal. So here we are in the gun normal. Now, what I want to do to kind of illustrate how this is going to work is I'm going to put the hook on the field. Now, because this is what we would call 2x2 with 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, running back in the backfield, your hooks might not behave the same way. So let's say for whatever reason, I would just set up kind of like a flood. You're going to see right here that this route does get guarded a little bit differently, where this hook can kind of hang on the back of the receiver. But all you need to do to dress this up would be to create trips. So in this particular case, I'm going to motion my running back out into a slot receiver role. Now for this, maybe we go ahead and flood the other direction. We use our hook, and then maybe I'll throw like a backside dig over the top. Now watch the way that that hook bails on that side, and now we can set this down as this hitch underneath. All you need is 3 players to one side of the quarterback, which is gonna, and they also need to be lined up in receiver roles. It just can't be a running back in the backfield. So I could also dress this up in similar fashion like this. Again, similar concept. That hook is gonna run over to the left. I throw this down over the right. Boom, pretty easy. Now, of course, you also have the ability, if you don't have a hot route master and you want to utilize this concept, go ahead and work the smart routed curl, because it's the same drill. That hook is going to bail. You saw right there, if not for a crazy rush animation, we had an easy check down right there. So pretty simple stuff. But that's not it. We also have some other different ways we can utilize this route. And I think that going back to that bunch tight end, trips tight end type offense is actually going to benefit us as well. What we're going to do here is I'm going to show you guys not 1, but 2 different utilities. The first one, we're going to break down how this works against Tampa 2, because all this we've kind of been focused on, you know, beating cover 3, cover 4. But the good thing about the OTB, or the over the ball, is that the mid read drops so deep into cover 2 that this is actually a tender spot in the field when you're talking about a cover 2 defense, because the middle of field defender, also known as the mid read zone, drops for some crazy depth. So we're talking about this defender right here. He's going to drop super deep, not quite as deep as the deep zones, but certainly deeper than the underneath zones. You see underneath, if we take a look at the 4 white jerseys, basically along the 41, 42 yard line. And then you have this mid-read zone that's back a little bit further than those. That's going to leave this little dump down lane here in the cover 2. This is kind of the area of the field that a lot of teams would attack with a Texas route. So when you talk about, you know, the running back routes against cover 2, this is kind of the same gist. It kind of angles back over the middle, and then boom. This is kind of that area of the defense that is susceptible to a check down in a cover 2. In fact, Bill Belichick actually used to drop a spy off the defensive line to protect. He called that cover 2 rat, or the rat in the hole underneath. But most players don't do that in Madden. So if you guys are dealing with a cover 2, this hook from the backside is such a money call where it's just going to spot up. You see right there, that's 11 the easy way. You don't have to throw a route and run upfield. It's just either they user it or they don't. And if they do user it, then of course, now we're ripping other throws that beat the cover 2. So if you could kind of imagine the user being Gronkowski, if Gronkowski in this simulation were to bite down on A, Y is going to be in behind. Now, again, ignore kind of the way that the coverage played. The user is going to be very different than the AI in this regard. But you see how important that can be, okay? So this is something that allows you to kind of high-low, but we're not done. Believe it or not, the hook is also really, really good on the outside, breaking over the middle. So let's go back into that cover 3, cover 4 type defense. And I want to show you, if I were to put Njoku on the snag route, or the OTB route, motion it outside, this route actually does a wonderful job of sitting down super, super well underneath of those zones on the short side of the field. So you're gonna see, like, look at this throw. This is such an easy pattern, and that's about 18 yards, 17 or 18 yards on this. So you guys can utilize this pattern quite easily. And the cool thing about this too is that this mixes in so darn well when you're talking about, you know, cover 3, cover 4. If you're motioning outside, most players are going to be starting to worry about maybe like a smart out route, which is another really, really good route. You could just play the high-low game on the outside. So that motion doesn't always have to be the same thing where you're running that slant sit route. It can also be mixed in quite well with the over the ball. So you guys can see very, very easily here how you guys can create a scheme out of this that a lot of players are going to really, really struggle to defend. You're going to be able to run your smart out routes, your over the ball hitches, just get those hooks out of the way, start throwing these hook routes. And you guys are really going to enjoy moving the ball, stealing, making the opponent have to use their low, and that's going to open up other reads in your offense. But I'm out of here, guys. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas. I am going to try to get some content out for you tomorrow. I'm not going to try to work my editor too darn hard, but we will make sure that we have some content here on the channel for you guys to enjoy, because I know some of you guys are going to be getting the game and starting to want to get better at it. So welcome to the channel. If you guys are new, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, Merry Christmas, get the lab, enjoy time with your family as well, and good luck.